Live stream for today, where we're going to talk about sleep, that most elusive of things sometimes, and it's very relevant. I went to bed very late last night and it made me think about sleep and how delicate sleep can be. So hope you're going well, I hope you're enjoying the day, and I hope actually that you are getting wonderful sleep. But often in these times of kind of uncertainty, and when things are not how you would like them to be, sleep is often one of those things that really suffers first. And it's really interesting watching your own patterns of sleep and behavior. And actually, you maybe let me know what's your patterns of sleep. I know that sometimes probably the most frustrating thing is when you fall asleep and you think it's all good, and then you wake up at maybe 12 or 1 in the morning. You go, what? Why? And then it's always at that time of the night when your mind starts churning over. And I want to talk a little bit quickly today about why that's happening, and also some techniques to help you move through that so you can go back to sleep. Or perhaps you're one of those people who finds it harder at the beginning of the night. So when you lie down and you're just ready to relax and get into a nice peaceful sleep, you flopped into bed, and then of course your mind won't stop and it keeps ticking and churning and won't let you sleep. It just can be the most frustrating thing, because as we all know, sleep is incredibly important. It's that time where your body can just relax and restore. That's that perfect time for you to be doing your healing, for your immune system to be kicking in, for everything this is where your parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, and just everything can relax. Your mind is actually resetting as well. It's actually, your mind goes through phases all through the night. And in a lot of those phases, it's actually really, really busy. Your mind is doing a lot of pruning. So it's going through all the things that happened to you in the day, or all the things you were thinking about, and it's deciding what is important, what should I keep, and what should I prune away? What things weren't important do I not need to focus on anymore? So that's a really important thing to think about. And the way they know this is they've done studies with mice and animals, where they've put them through a maze to find food. And interestingly, the mice, if you don't allow them to sleep after they've done the maze, if they're not allowed to sleep, they don't seem to lay down the memory of that pathway as well. So the mice that are allowed to sleep can find the cheese much easier the next day, whereas the mice that aren't allowed to sleep can't. So isn't that interesting that what we're doing as part of what's happening when we're in that sleep process is we're doing a bit of pruning, because our brain can't keep everything, and it's deciding what's important and what's not. So that should give you some clues about ways that we can get ourselves better sleep, because what we're thinking about and what we're focusing on and considering most important during our day is what then our brains are deciding at night. Okay, well, she thought about that heaps today. That must be really, really important. We're going to lay down those cables. And in some cases, you might find that's actually not what I want to be having laid down as stronger pathways. I actually want the opposite. I want those to be pruned away and taken away. So that's why in PRAVA we talk about changing those thought patterns throughout your day, finding that joy. So maybe go back to the last live stream, find joy in every day, and locking in those moments that are happy and joyful, because that's more likely for your body then when you go to sleep to pick up on those things rather than the stressful things that maybe are bothering you. So yes, it's so important to be understanding that your responses and the way that you are living day to day is really, really affecting how well you're going to be able to sleep. So if you're not sleeping well, start paying attention to what you're thinking throughout the day and what you're focusing on. So we'll go right back to square one, of course, and I'm going to say it again, don't watch the news. Certainly before bed, don't check the stats, don't go on your iPad and see what's happened in the news. Don't watch the TV news or some sort of live update, and don't have that playing in the background, because it will affect, it'll be churning around in your mind. And it's more likely to, so right back at the beginning we talked about how Humans, we have a certain level, a kind of baseline of living of our stress response, and normally that's quite relaxed. Our parasympathetics going, we're all kind of relaxed. A stressful event happens, it boosts up for a while, and then it drops back down to that baseline. The problem is if we, throughout the day, if we're stressing about things, worrying about things, that baseline, instead of jumping up and then returning to baseline, it actually stays at this higher level. So you can imagine when you go to sleep at night, if you're already at this slightly elevated stress level with a whole lot of stress hormones in your body, then your mind is probably not going to really shut down to those deep levels of sleep. You're still full of all those hormones and stressing, then you're more likely to sleep shallower. So if you're finding you have a lot of dreams, a lot of very vivid dreams, that means you're not dropping into that really deep, relaxed sleep. So just a couple of quick techniques for today to help you get into that relaxed mind frame. So whether that's if you can't get in the beginning of the night, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and find that you're suddenly churning things over and can't get back to sleep. So very first thing, yes, don't watch the news. Make sure what you're trying to do throughout the day, concentrate on feeding your mind with the good stuff. Powerful thinking, acknowledging the great things that you're doing that are happening to you, acknowledging the future and how you are going to be making a better future for yourself and the things you're looking forward to. Acknowledging the great parts about your life. And certainly doing that just before bed as you lie down and I know sometimes it's hard. You've had a big long day and there's been a lot on. So being able to flop down even and just take a few deep breaths and run over your day and only focus on those good things, those positive things. Purposely program your mind with the good stuff just before you fall asleep, because that's what your mind is going to be focusing on. So going through those good things, doing that powerful thinking. The other thing too is to bring your system down is, of course, the breathing. That's that one thing that is controlled by both our parasympathetic and our conscious and our subconscious is our breathing. So most stuff like heart rate and things like digestion and all that stuff is only up to our subconscious mind. We can't really do much about that. But our breathing we can control. So taking those deep breaths, those deep belly breaths, and just letting things calm down before bed. Like they say, the classic advice of having a dark room and a peaceful environment just before you go to bed is really, really important. Hopefully now you realize that's why that is, because we're trying to get our brain in that state where it's reducing all the hormones, all the chemicals, all the neurons firing in that sympathetic nervous system, all coming down to a peaceful, relaxed state before you drop off to sleep. And the other thing that I found really, really valuable, because I'm a thinker, my mind does go round and round and round, and I find it hard sometimes to stop thinking. It's why I find meditation so hard sometimes, getting better and better at that. It's all practice. But trying to get your mind, your thoughts, getting control of those thoughts. So one of the ways that I do that, I find it very hard. I can't blank my mind. I find that very, very difficult, and maybe you do too. So one of the ways that I found really helpful is to think about imagine my thoughts as, I don't know, if you've seen Harry Potter or if you've read Harry Potter, she talks about thoughts as silvery threads, and they kind of swirl around in your brain. And thoughts are something that you can actually remove from your mind. So while you're lying there really peacefully, if you watch your thoughts and imagine them as a swirl of these silvery threads, just swirling around in your mind. And imagine actually whether you take a magic wand or your hand or some way of, just in your mind, grabbing those thoughts and actually drawing them out of your head and either putting them in a little special box by the side of your bed. So just drawing those thoughts out of your mind, putting them into a box that you're going to close the lid on right beside your bed. Or the other way I do it is actually draw those thoughts, and I use the computer analogy, me being online, I upload them to the cloud. So I actually imagine those silvery threads being drawn right up into the sky, into the clouds. And they're not gone forever. They're there if I need them. I can download them again tomorrow if I want to, just like in stuff that you upload to the cloud. So upload all those thoughts into the cloud, and just for the just be okay that they're there. They're there if you need them again, but you can just have them stored for the moment. You don't have to worry about them right now. They can be up there in the cloud. They can be by your bed in a box if you want. Close the lid, and then just be separating yourself from those thought processes. You can do that process over and over again as often as you like. As soon as you start feeling those thoughts starting to swirl, so imagine them swirling, imagine your hand or a white light drawing those thoughts up into the clouds and taking them just away and storing them for later. And I found that very, very helpful to move those thoughts on. The other way a lot of people do it is imagine those thoughts as clouds just moving across the sky, or as leaves on a stream floating down a stream. And that's the other thing that I'd recommend, and I'll upload another stream you can see on the PRAVA Facebook page, the little stream, and just watching nature, watching something natural just flowing is a very good way to just switch your brain away from everything that's happening around you onto just movement, just natural movement, natural flow. And that's one of the most important parts of being able to sleep, is allowing your thoughts to flow and not getting caught in that cycle of round and round and round. And whether you want to listen to some calming music or a meditation, if you like meditations, which I like the guided meditations. We do guided thought processes just to allow those thoughts to keep flowing. And that will help your brain just move on and be able to relax and allow those things to be, and then shut down, hopefully again this time, without processing all those thoughts. Because the less information that your brain has to try and go over and figure out that night, the better. The more likely you're going to get into that beautiful, peaceful sleep mode. And I'm interested to know, do you have a technique that you use in order to get to sleep? And this is again where being part of a community, the PRAVA community, is really helpful. And thanks guys for all of you who are sharing the different ways that you're using to create this calmer mind. So if you've got a technique that you love to use to calm your mind, to allow those thoughts to flow, to allow yourself to go back to sleep in the middle of the night, or to sleep when you're just relaxing in the evening and just drifting into that sleep. What are the techniques that you use as well? Let us know, because I love to hear them all, and it's great for everyone to hear. And you can pick through and see which ones will work for you, because obviously sleep is so important, especially at the moment. Again, if you want to boost up your immune system, make sure that you're healthy and strong. Another powerful way to do that is to make sure that you're getting good, peaceful and calm sleep. And that is it's a process of making sure that your day is nice, is your thoughts are flowing through the day, that you're able to control that stress response and keep it low throughout the day, and then also release that all as you go into sleep at night. All right, so hopefully that's been helpful, guys. Just a little one, quick one today to go to sleep. And here's a affirmation that I often use when I want to just relax and head off to sleep, and that is nothing to do, no one to please. And I love that, nothing to do. And I will often say that to myself over and over and over again, nothing to do, no one to please. And it's a beautiful way to just let go. A lot of us take too much responsibility for everyone else and everything that's happening in our worlds. Sometimes we just got to let all that go and know that sometimes it's time for us, and that it's nothing to do, no one to please for now when your head hits the pillow. That's a really calming and gentle way to drift off into sleep. All right, so hopefully you have a nice sleep tonight and going forward into the future, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of days' time. Okay, quick one today. See ya.